This is the best Web3 and crypto marketing strategy in 2024 today. We've used this exact strategy to raise over 100 million US dollars for over 60 crypto startups in the past 4 years. I'm going to share everything from A to Z on how we've been able to raise over $100 million for these startups in this video. So stay tuned. Quick disclaimer, if you're not a crypto startup founder or in the core team of any Web3 brand or company, this video is probably not for you. If you are, on the other hand, you're going to be over the moon. This video is the best video you'll find on YouTube, hands down. So yeah, without further ado, let's dive into it. So yeah, as you can see on my screen now, this is the exact formula we've used over the past 4 years to raise 100 million US dollars for our clients at Lumina, a all-in-one Web3 marketing firm. I'm the founder of this agency, and yeah, we perfected this go-to-market strategy to achieve these results time and time again. So yeah, if you want to book in for a free consultation call, check the link in the description and let's go on a free call. But without further ado, let's dive into the overall strategy. So, in every crypto go-to-market campaign, there should be two main fundamentals to achieve the end result of success or a sellout on your TGE or to acquire users, whatever you want out of that campaign. And this is the campaign we've used to achieve them results, either acquiring users or raising a shit ton of money in the market. So yeah, there's two main fundamentals at the beginning of the campaign. That is the design and the execution. Both are just as important as each other, and I can't kind of express that enough. If the design is perfect and the execution is failed, the project will be a failure. If the execution is perfect but the design is failed, the project will be a failure. So it's very important both of these categories get the attention they deserve, and it's like the cliche old saying, you know, product versus marketing or them type of things. So yeah, it's very, very, very important. Both of these categories, you guys understand how important each of them are. They're equal, yeah, they're equally important. So at the beginning of every campaign, it's going to start with design, okay? You need to design the campaign, and how you're going to do that is through designing the value propositions inside your company or your project, and the branding of your project or your company. The branding of your project will equal trust, and everything in crypto fundamentally comes from trust. If you can establish a layer of trust with your community, chances are they're going to invest or use your project. If you fail to establish this layer of trust, you're going to fail drastically. So we're going to deep dive into the branding aspect first. So inside the branding, there's three main fundamentals you want to include. That is culture, your assets, and social proof. Let's start with assets, okay? Assets will include your website, your light paper, and your white paper. And yeah, as you can see from each of these points, you want to establish a layer of legitimacy for your website. You want to make your light paper digestible, and exact same with your white paper. So some tips for your website would be make sure the branding colors and the font design, and it basically just looks like a really professional, well put together website to show that, yeah, it's not just a 15-year-old in his basement trying to, you know, start the next Ethereum or Solana or whatever your project is. It's a legit professional team who has the capabilities and the understanding and knowledge to put together a well put together website with the correct branding and a standard throughout the whole website. Some other tips for your website: try and gamify it as much as possible, make it interactive, make the individuals reading the website, make it fun for them to go through your website, depending on the product. Of course, it isn't a black and white point, but a rule of thumb, try and make it as interactive and fun as possible. The second thing would be your light paper and white paper. So we can talk about these as a whole. Your white paper and light paper. Check out my Twitter at RHYSHALL107 Reese Hall. Check it on Twitter. I've posted a lot of content the past few days on important things to include in both your light paper and white paper. If you go back and check my tweets, you'll get a full deep dive on how to perfect both of these things. But the main key point of both of these is you want to make it digestible. You do not want to overwhelm your audience with a with a extremely high-end technical white paper or light paper, which is totally tech savvy, and half of the words on the light paper and white paper, 80% of crypto will not understand. You could be arrogant and argue we only want the 20% who does understand, but the chances to get their attention when there's so much other products in the market, you would rather have social proof, which we're going to talk about in a minute, and make it digestible for everyone who reads. So less is more, and simplify each word, breaking it down and making a beginner understand it. But yeah, check out my Twitter. I mention a lot of things about the light paper and white paper so you can make it as compelling as possible. But yeah, basically the point I'm getting with trust here in assets is every asset you show the public should be of a standard which is consistent across the whole project, and that standard should be at a very high level. So if it's pitch decks, intro message templates, as I said, website, light paper, white paper, all of these things must be of a good standard. I can't emphasize it enough. But the next aspect to establish trust in your branding is embracing culture throughout your project, if that's through your assets, through your social media, or through your communication. So everything in crypto is about narrative and having a personal relationship or making a project make you emotional. And culture is a great way to trigger these emotions. So you want to make sure your project can be relatable, even if it is a new L1, which has a groundbreaking technology advancement in blockchain. Of course, that's not relatable for 99.9% of the market. But what you want to do then is, through your communications and through your social media and through your assets, embrace culture, embrace hot topics in crypto, narratives, hype projects, big news, all of these things, and integrate it inside your communications, making it relatable and make them have some sort of emotion and feeling with your project. The second thing with culture is you want to embrace the decentralized culture. If you make it very clear that the project is centralized and all of the community doesn't matter and they have no say on what happens with the project. The whole ethos of crypto is it's decentralized, so you want to try and establish this within your community and allow them to, vibe with that aspect of it being decentralized and they're important in the project. And then the third thing would be keywords. So look up on OpenAI crypto slang dictionary and use them words inside your communications. Do not overuse them, but make sure you're up to date with the keywords in crypto culture, like FOMO, NGMI, GM, GN. I could go on forever, but use cultured words and terms in your communication, and that will establish a great layer of trust that you're not a Web2 brand or you're not an alien to the market. You're one of them. You're one of the normies, the degens like myself, and they understand this and can get that emotional attachment, which, as I mentioned, everything in business and crypto is emotional. So that's two huge aspects you need to perfect in creating this trust. The third would be social proof. So what partners do you have? Partners could be community partners, it could be project partners, it could be technical partners. Just what partners do you have inside the ecosystem? You need to establish these partnerships if you do not have them, as that will provide so much trust that the team is connected and they have partners. These partners are quality companies who would not partner with a really bad project. The second, which can be very hard, and I'll create another video on how to be attractive to VCs, is who's the VCs backing your project? If you can lock in any crypto VC, it's going to establish so much trust with the overall community that, okay, it's a great project. A VC, someone we look at as gods as such, or crypto gods, they have decided to invest in this company, which means it must be good. So lock in both of these partners and VCs and effectively communicate the importance of who you've locked in. We'll talk about this further in the execution, but it's important you communicate correctly both of these things and don't be too humble with the communications. Let everyone know. So that's what it says here. Explain significance, make sure you're repeating and showing and doing in the right way, in the appropriate way, that you've locked in these partners and these VCs, as it delivers so much trust. But yeah, that's basically the branding aspect in terms of designing trust. This is very, very, very important, because if this has not been done correctly or done to the highest efficiency, you're showing a product to the market which is just diluting the value of the actual product. If you respect your company and your project and your product to a certain standard, make sure all of these assets and all of these things I just mentioned present that standard you see your project at. So that's the design aspect of branding. Another very important aspect before you move on to execution is designing your value propositions correctly. So there is hundreds and hundreds of thousands of projects launching each month and year in terms of memes and generic crypto companies. So you want to make sure that the value propositions you're showing to the market is up to date and isn't 4 years old and is very attractive and compelling to the market today. As I said, not 4 years ago, today. So inside your affiliate system and inside your tokenomics and inside your bonus systems, which if you're running an effective marketing campaign, you should have all three of these things. You need to make sure the value propositions within them are very compelling. So with tokenomics, it's going to be the utility. What's the utility of your token? Is there utility, or is it a total narrative driven token where it's just a meme, in other words? If there's utility, try and make them utilities as compelling as you can possibly make them and as attractive as you can possibly make them, because you only get one shot at launching a token. So if it isn't done and executed correctly the first time, the chances of executing it successfully the second time is going to be 100 times harder. So make sure them utilities are up to date and attractive in the market today, and design them and brainstorm them as much as you can. The other two, affiliate systems and bonuses, I think these are very important. You want to try and design maybe an airdrop campaign for affiliates or for a bonus system. So again, something very attractive for the market to engage with and try and organically promote, because they get something in return. Like an airdrop, they get free tokens, which they will look at as free money, which could potentially make them rich. It's done so before for various different projects, so why not yours? And basically with all three of these value propositions, you want to make sure there are three things, or they give an emotion of three things, which is exclusive, attractive to the market, and gets their attention. So make sure when the market sees these value propositions, they have a feeling of it's very exclusive and they've got an opportunity to participate in that value proposition inside this ecosystem now. So they need to take advantage of that, and it's exclusive, it's not for everyone. You want to make sure it's attractive to the market. As I said a few minutes ago, it's attractive today in the market, not 4 years ago or not 4 years in the future, today. And the third, it gets their attention. There's hundreds of thousands of projects. There's hundreds of thousands of value propositions inside them projects. What is going to make yours stand out and get their attention? So make sure the design of these value propositions is down to a T. But this is basically everything for design. And if you execute this 100% successfully, it sets you up for the execution side, which is the easier side of the overall go-to-market strategy, and a very, very, very high chance of success and to sell out your token. So talking about executing a go-to-market campaign, leveraging a token or leveraging a certain beta access for a platform, you want to include various different things, and these things are very in-depth and intricate, so I'm not going to be able to go into the greatest of detail on each one in the video, but I'll give a lot of context for each point right now. So inside executing the go-to-market campaign, you want to have growth hacking strategies and also collaborations. So let's start with growth hacking strategies, which will set you up in a very strong position for the collaborations in terms of leverage and having exclusivity around your project. It's in demand. So growth hacking strategies you can use to promote, one, all of your value propositions, and two, your brand, your company, your project. So growth hacking strategies are for every growth hacking strategy which is effective in the market today, you need to have three of these things. connections, experience, and knowledge. So all of these growth hacking strategies I'm going to mention below are extremely effective if they're done with the right people, and if you have the experience and the knowledge of the correct and the net positive influencers, KOLs, alpha groups. I'm going to talk about them all. If you have that insight and you have them connections, fantastic, you can make a very successful project. If you don't, typically 9 times out of 10, you need to work with a team of people who do. So the growth hacking strategies are influencers, KOLs, ambassadors, content creators, alpha callers, affiliates, and partnerships. All of these individuals I just mentioned are going to drive attention to your project, and it's your job to nurture and flourish and grow the attention you get organically through the design aspect of the campaign. So with influencers, let's talk about it very briefly. You want to make sure, 1, you're working with the right influencers, 2, you're getting a good deal with the influencer and they're not ripping you off, and 3, the influencer has the right deliverables at the right times during the campaign. If you execute all 3 of them things, you will get a net positive interaction with vetted influencers who you trust and you know and you have the knowledge they're good influencers. So very, very, very important aspect in terms of growing an audience and getting attention. Same thing with KOLs. Everything I mentioned for influencers is the same thing as KOLs. You could look at them as the same being, an influencer and a KOL. The third is ambassadors. So an ambassador campaign inside crypto, what we found to be very effective at Lumina, is onboarding ambassadors either through an airdrop of your token if they really believe in it, and you can present to them ambassadors a project in demand, i.e. you have hype, you have a following, you have demand for the token. So without going crazy on your marketing budget, offer them tokens. If you look at them tokens as very valuable, or you'd rather give them USDT or Solana or ETH or Bitcoin, fantastic. Arrange a deal with ambassadors in stables. And the ambassador's position inside your project should be to like, retweet, and comment on all of your posts you publish during their agreed time frame. So if an ambassador is onboarded for 1 month, that's what they do for 1 month every single time you upload something. If it's 1 week, same thing. And they should also be creating organic content about your project on their timeline for their followers. So it's kind of like KOLs and influencers, but at a micro scale, and will deliver so much social proof to your project. Fourth, content creators, exact same thing as KOLs and influencers, except with content creators, try and be very niche to your specific niche inside crypto. If it's real world asset, if it's DeFi, if it's NFT, if it's gaming, if it's AI, find content creators inside that niche. Fifth would be alpha callers. So this is one of our biggest value propositions in terms of having the right connections to the right guys. So an alpha caller is basically someone who has been selected to represent a certain trading group or a certain trading community, giving them signals, i.e. alpha, and they have usually had a very positive track record to deliver this alpha to the community. So if you establish a relationship with these type of callers, and they trust you and believe in your project, and you can show them why they should believe in your project through your track record, then fantastic. Sometimes you can arrange a under the table deal with the alpha caller, paying them for a publication inside them communities because there's trust, they're getting paid, and they believe in the project. So very, very, very important thing you can scale and really go hard on, which will drive a lot of attention to your project. Final 2 things would be affiliates. 1, so onboard known and established affiliates in crypto to funnel their communities to your project. And in return of being an affiliate, they will get compensated for the positive returns they bring. Finally, partnerships. I talked about them in terms of trust. Establish partnerships with proven companies and communities in the space. This will drive attention. So all of these things are growth strategies we use at Lumina and have been very, very, very successful in doing so. Really, really listen back to that. That's one of the most important things in this whole video, them growth hacking strategies. But yeah, if you do all them correctly and the design and the branding and the value propositions are designed correctly, and all of the growth hacking strategies are executed correctly, it sets your project up in a very, very strong position for collaborations, because there is now hype, there is now demand, and you have the market's attention. So with the hype, with the demand, with the attention, what you can do is leverage collaborations with already existing and established communities in the space. Trading communities, NFT communities, maybe it could be already, other project or token communities as well. So with these type of collaborations, you're going to need the connection to them. But if you have the connection, what you can do then is you can leverage whitelist spots or an airdrop to their community. Whitelist spot being you get access to buy into our token at a discounted rate X time, or it could be airdrops. We're going to give your community an airdrop of our token in return for co-marketing exposure, a consistent marketing plan together, whatever it may be. Each deal is different. I could name off 100 different examples, but point being, you can do a collaboration with these communities and get marketing and get attention inside them from giving them something of value. What this is going to drive is FOMO, so fear of missing out. Each community is going to have fear of missing out because your community is hyped, it has demand, and there's a collaboration. And the collaboration is set up in an exclusive manner where maybe there'll be 1,000 participants in the collaboration for the community, but you're only giving away 50 spots, 50 whitelist spots, or 50 people's getting airdropped. That means 950 have missed out, and they're going to try and find another way to get that whitelist or get that airdrop. Same thing with invest. So if they do these things, they're going to want to invest in the project because they can see the demand and the hype for the project, which is typically going to convert to users. If you have a product or a platform and they want to invest in your token, they're going to be attracted to your platform because that's usually what the token is centered around. So you can convert them to users through these collaborations. Fourth would be to promote. As I said, co-marketing. It's going to promote and drive attention to your ecosystem. Then finally, social proof, tying back into the branding and all of that. Because if you're executing consistent collaborations with very, very established communities, it's going to let the market know these guys are connected, these guys know what they're doing, I believe in them, I trust them, there's proof. So these are the four main fundamentals under design and execution. It's very, very, very important these are done to 100% efficiency, and they are done consistent with the same consistency throughout the whole campaign. So what these two main fundamentals are going to lead to and are going to funnel to is your project's content. And this is where you're going to nurture the attention you got, convert them to the users, make them more hype, or potentially get them as investors. So this content is very, very, very important. And again, I'll create a future video on this. But basically what you're going to need when determining your project's content schedule is having a content schedule, having a correct plan for your content and what's going to go out at what date. Are you consistently posting updates or platform updates? Or are you posting giveaways or events? Are you posting, there's so much different things content can have. So make sure you have a correct content schedule and you're not just winging it as such, meaning you're not just randomly posting at random times whenever you feel like it. Make sure there's a plan and a schedule and a strategy. And inside the content, you're going to have these three things, which is very high quality graphics. That's self-explanatory. You're going to need consistency throughout your whole branding and your whole project. So have high quality graphics. Make sure the copy and the communication of the posts is done in a very efficient manner. Don't be using hashtags, don't be looking too needy, don't be using too much words. Make it simple, make it digestible, make it interactive. So make sure the writing is done right. And then find the right balance with call to actions, CTAs. Don't always be saying join my community or invest in my token or do XYZ. Again, make it exclusive, make it of demand, only show them opportunities at certain points and leverage your attention to make them even hungrier and even wanting to get the call to action even more. So make sure there's a strategy set in place there with your content schedule. Then the final thing would be reply guy. It's something very crypto native, and a lot of Web2 companies aren't really doing this, but it's replying to other communities or other tweets or other publications where you see your target audience being, and making your comment or reply be extremely hilarious or extremely meaningful or something which is going to make others interact with your comment on that post, in return getting the attention of anyone who sees that post and also their community, because 9 times out of 10 they will click on their projects and post to see who's commenting or what's the overall narrative in the comments of this project. So try and onboard a very strong reply guy. And the main platforms you're going to want to do all these things on for content is Twitter. Crypto Twitter is the only platform worth talking about in terms of growing an audience. Not managing or nurturing, but growing an audience. That's where you're going to get all the attention, and that's what you should focus on. For one, you shouldn't spread your attention too wide. Just solely focus on Twitter, and I'm sure you'll do extremely well. From Twitter, you're going to want to funnel your attention and your community members to either a Telegram or a Discord or both, where we move on to our next conversation, where you're going to establish community management, and you're going to convert them to paying users or paying customers of your company or product. Community management, you're going to do these on Telegram and Discord. In Asia, if you're an Asian specific project, you can also use WeChat. I would typically refer Telegram or Discord initially in this go-to-market campaign, and then branching out from there at a further date, as you don't want your community being spread too thin. You want to make sure they're all in the same channel and being as interactive as possible. There's more people there to interact with, i.e. your community is going to build a stronger bond. So that's why we typically pick one, if not these two. Inside both of your Telegram and Discord, you're going to want to make sure you have the best security set in place with the best bots and the best moderators and community managers and Discord security admins or Telegram security admins, so your server doesn't get hacked or there's a very strong layer of scammer protection. Because if there's not, your project's typically ruined, because they will think, why would I invest into a company who can't even have a secure community channel? So make sure scammer protection is on point and your security management team is on point. And another thing is structure. So what's the structure of the Discord channel or the Telegram? Make sure that structure is digestible and aesthetically looks very good and interactive for all the community members. Them two things are very self-explanatory. And then in the moderation, in engaging with the members you get from Twitter and from all the other growth hacking strategies I mentioned, the main thing you want to do is build a relationship and build a bond with them users, which is typically going to make them more bullish, drive more FOMO, or convert them to users or investors. So how you're going to do this is through the communication you use and how actively you're responding to all the members, every single member every day, how fast the response rate, and what's the communication like between them. Is there culture attached to the communication, or are you speaking to them like you're speaking to someone beneath you? You want to make sure they're spoke to as peers, or they're respected, and there's a trust, and they understand, the team knows crypto culture. So in terms of moderation, again, I could go into another video about that at very great detail, but you want to make sure the moderation is very on point, because a lot of times projects will hire the cheapest moderators they can find, but you have to remember, these moderators or this Discord team are the individuals engaging with your potential investors or users the most and at the strongest rate. So you want to make sure they know how to communicate. Maybe they have a personal reputation themselves, or that they know how to communicate and convert to paying users or customers. I can't express how important it is to have the correct community management team set in place. Guys, that's pretty much it. That's how we've been able to raise $100 million for 60 plus different crypto startups the past 4 years, through executing each of these points in this whole design to a very, very, very extremely high level. I would say we've mastered this go-to-market plan. We've spent 25,000 plus hours minimum on each of these tasks at a very high level. So just speaking from my personal experience, I think this is the best go-to-market strategy in crypto, at least what we've found thus far. We've trialed and tested many others, but this is definitely the most compelling and has given the highest returns. And if you're a crypto startup out there, I would recommend rewatching this video a few times and listening to a lot of the specific things I mentioned on each detail, as it shouldn't be overlooked. if you're wanting to have a successful TGE. As I said before, you typically only get one chance in crypto to launch your token, so you want to make sure it's done right, because if it isn't, showing a project which is already failed or a product which is already failed to the market again is 100 times harder. So make sure you execute it right the first time round. The market's looking amazing for Q4 of this year and Q1 next year. I think now's the right time to be designing this campaign very efficiently and making sure everything is on point, because if you can do so, I don't see any reason why you shouldn't be able to sell out your token valuation, raise a lot of money, and build a cult following of people bullish about your project and promoting your project as they're incentivized to. So yeah, I hope some founders out there or some team members got value from this video. If you did, drop a like, drop a comment, share this video with some friends or peers. Send me a personal message on Twitter if you did get some inspiration or insights or value from the video. Would be greatly appreciated, and that's what makes the channel all worth it. And if there is anyone wanting to talk to me directly about Lumina, my agency, managing your campaign and making sure it gets executed correctly and efficiently, drop me a DM. Let's book into a call. If you go on our website, there should be a free consultation link where you can speak to myself directly. And yeah, guys, I wish you the best of luck. I'm rooting for you, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.